Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and I have a homeschool haul to share with you today. They are primarily books, but I also do have a few other resources that I want to share with you today. I want to share with you the books that we got, why we got them, and what units they are for. So let's dive right in. The first book I want to show you is called Nothing Stopped Sophie, and this is for our math main lesson block. This is a biography about a woman who lived several hundred years ago, a couple hundred years ago during the French Revolution, and her struggles and her perseverance to let the world know about the math that she had discovered and just try to get through the patriarchy of the educational system and just the way society was set up at the time. So I really enjoyed this book. It really shows a lot of other things other than math going on. It shows what life was like at the time and the perseverance that was needed and just the way that she really shook things up for her society. And of course, it's a great math biography. So we have this one for our math main lesson block. I have another book for our math main lesson block, and this one's called The School of Numbers. This is going to take you from basic arithmetic all the way through probably upper elementary, I want to say. You start by meeting the crew. These are the people who are going to take you on this math adventure. And then it's going to start with really basic math. And it's great for students just to read through with a parent or a teacher, but it's also really fantastic for parents and teachers who just need a bit of a refresher course. And I know some of these concepts are pretty basic. We should all be able to know how to do them, but we may need a little assistance in being able to teach them and maybe having some background information on why we do the things that we do in math today. And so this I find to be like a really great resource. Plus it's really beautiful. It's fun to read. It has great illustrations. So it's going to take you through basic arithmetic, the 4 mathematical operations, a few shortcuts and little tricks of the trade, which are fun to learn. And then it's going to take you into prime numbers, negative numbers, finding the square root, angles, geometry. So it's going to take you all the way through, I feel probably upper elementary for all the basic stuff that you need to know. So we're really enjoying this book. This is also for our math unit. I have some books here for our ocean main lesson block. Now we've already completed our ocean main lesson block, but when I was putting this together to share, so I do have a curriculum that's available on my website. That link is down in the description box below. So when I was getting that curriculum ready to publish, I went online to look at some of the other resources available, and I was blown away. There are so many awesome resources there's just awesome resources in general. But then I found a lot more that I want to include for our ocean main lesson block. So the first one is called Ocean Atlas, and I am so drawn to books that have gorgeous illustrations, and so this is one of those books that I'm really going to enjoy because of the illustrations, even though I've been kind of snooty when it comes to computer animation and those kinds of illustrations, but really I think that I have been won over because I'm really enjoying them quite a bit. I also love books that are well published, like well made, like good materials, and I love the paper for some of these books. It's thick and it's matte and it just looks really high quality, and that really makes me enjoy the resource all the more. Plus it's hardback, and I do prefer hardback over paperback whenever we can, just because I feel like the durability is better, and for us in our school I just feel like we're going to mine them better, take care of them longer, and they're just going to be available for us for the long term. Something I want to point out about this book is that it also includes very subtly some actual photography. Now, I prefer books that are illustrated, but when it comes to certain subject areas, I think it's really important that you also have some photographs to complement the book, just so that you can get a sense of what those images actually are. And also, if you're doing this from a Waldorf perspective, because we do have a Waldorf inspired homeschool, and so we do have quite a few more books than what I think you would expect for a Waldorf family. And so you may just choose to use this as your own personal resource as a teacher, as a parent, when you're delivering the lessons. But I still really like the illustrations, and I'm a little more picky with the photographs, but in this book I think they're just really nicely included. So we have another book for our ocean main lesson block. This one's called Obsessive About Octopuses. and this is by Owen Davey, and he has a number of books, and we have a few of them. They all have different titles, but they're all about different animals. So this is obsessive about octopuses. There's one about monkeys, and maybe it's like, I don't know, Mad for Monkeys or something like that, where the title is kind of whimsical and part of whatever the subject area is. So there are others in this series. I do like them for the same reason why I like books in kind of like in this design, where the illustrations, they're just fun and the paper is amazing and the content seems just right. I don't like overly text heavy content, and I love picture books, but sometimes picture books for really young students might only just have a little bit of information. And so I love this balance because it's super enjoyable for, I feel, all grade levels. And what I also like about this too is that you might have an older child, and that child may read all of the entire book and really enjoy it. But you may have a younger child where you might read the information for them, or you might just do some of the captions, or maybe abbreviate some of the content because the illustrations are still so captivating and enjoyable. Okay, I have Dinosaur Lady, and I really am drawn to biographies about female scientists and mathematicians, and this is another one that is going to work really well with our collection of female role model biographies. I think that they're so well done. I haven't met a book about a female biography, or just a biography about a female scientist or mathematician, that I haven't absolutely loved. I think in part it's because the stories are so inspiring. It's not so much about the actual writing content or about how the illustrations are. It's really truly just the story behind these amazing women who went through great lengths to do what they were told they couldn't do. And so this is just another book that's going to be added to our biographies that fits really well into, say, a geology unit or a unit on female role models, or you can just use these kinds of books for your opening activities, your morning basket, or your circle time. And that way you can include all these other books that you might not find a place for in your curriculum, but they still find a place in your education and in your homeschool. This next book is called Home, and I saw a friend of mine show this book on Instagram, and I just really wanted it for our unit on shelter building. This is a Waldorf unit or Waldorf main lesson block that you can expect in about grade 3 or 4. And it's about shelters and different types of homes. And you also do sewing and weaving clothing, and you learn how to farm. And it's this whole really great skill-based main lesson block. And the reason why I added this book, primarily, I expected it to have like all these different types of homes, which it does, but it's also really whimsical. Like it'll talk about, fantasy type homes and homes that aren't really practical, but it's fun. It's a great story to include as your opening activity for that unit. My daughter and I have talked extensively about this book. It spurs on conversation, or it sparks conversation. And so we really enjoyed it. And again, the illustrations are fantastic. The paper is great. It's just a really beautifully done book. I love all of the color tones that they've included. Those kinds of things really draw me to a book, sometimes more so than the actual content, because if the illustrations are fabulous, I can always add my own content to it. So this will be for our main lesson block on shelter building, making clothes, and farming. Tiny Explores into the Wild. The author of this book had contacted me on Instagram and had offered to send me a copy, and I declined. I said, I'm just going to buy it. So we get our educational funding to purchase homeschool supplies, and I just decided, sorry, book. I just decided that I wanted to just purchase this one outright because this would be the kind of stuff that I buy anyway for our homeschool. And so I was really happy to support the smaller small businesses and authors and publishers. I whenever we can, and because we're getting our educational funding, it really brings me so much joy to purchase these books. And still, you're bringing a lot of, it's still really important to check them out from the library. I don't want to put one above the other. When you check out books from the library, it actually allows the library to buy more books, and those authors and publishers, it can keep them in business. And so definitely check them out from the library for sure. And when possible, if you have the ability to do so, it's close to my heart to help support authors, illustrators, publishers, because I am so thankful for the amazing resources that we are able to have for our homeschool. So this book is so delightful. We haven't done any of the projects yet, but they are just right up my alley for the things that we would like to do. I think this would be such a valuable resource to include in a number of main lesson blocks, or just as part of your nature study. You can do some weaving here with really simple materials. I love that this book is packed with some very simple ways to interact with nature, to create projects and activities using the things that are around you. And this book is geared towards young students, like really young, even toddlers, preschoolers, pre-K, kindergartners, first grade. But I still would probably use this through middle to upper elementary. The next book I want to show you is called Planetarium, and this is Welcome to the Museum series, and we have this for other topic areas, and for botany and for zoology, and we have really enjoyed them. However, the content is minimal, and so for me, these books, the other 2 or 3 in the series, they weren't enough to be primary resources for our main lesson blocks in our unit studies. So we used them to look at the illustrations. We read a little bit about the content related to the subject area that we were studying, because it covers a wide range of subject areas within a book. So for instance, for botany, it's going to go through all types of plants. And so if we were just studying a particular type of plant, or we needed something on monocots or dicots, then we might just look at that particular section. So what I mean is that it's not a book that I'm going to read cover to cover. However, for the astronomy book, this is one that I would definitely super enjoy reading cover to cover. Astronomy is something that just sparks so much just imagination and curiosity. And I love, love, love when artists and illustrators paint their versions of what they imagine the other galaxies to look at, like, and other planets and the stars and asteroids and everything. I love looking at those illustrations and just kind of imagining. And my son, who is now 14, really loves things related to astronomy. And so this book is going to be something that we're going to just enjoy outside of our main lesson blocks, because for him, he's doing chemistry and physics this year, and for my daughter, we don't have a main lesson block in astronomy coming up for the next couple of years. And so this is just something that we're going to enjoy outside of a main lesson block. I have more things to show you. Let me show you the 2 things that are related to our math main lesson block before I get into some of the other resources. This is the multiplication table board. This is by Lino Natura, or at least that's where we bought it from. And this was advertised on Instagram. Their targeted marketing was spot on for this one. And so we went ahead and we got this one. And I really like it, except for I wasn't paying attention, didn't realize it only went up to the 9 times table, and I really preferred one that went up to the 12 times table. I did find one on Amazon, and when I got ready to order it, it actually was out of stock, and so I was kind of disappointed about that. I'm sure there are other places where you can find a 12 times table with the little removable pieces. So, but this one so far has been the most beautiful one that I've found. I really like this color range. The other one looks a little bit more like this. I know the colors are really similar, but the subtle difference just kind of, I could tell, like, I just really like this one. So these colors. So they do have ones that are larger. So if you're investing in this for the first time, I would highly recommend that you get the one that has the 12 times tables rather than just going up to the 9s. This company had a lot of materials geared towards younger students and toys for preschool and kindergarten. So it was a little bit more challenging to find something that was going to be suitable for our needs. However, I do like this one a lot, but they do have chokeable pieces. So please be super careful if you've got young children in your homeschool, and just know that they all come apart. They all come out. And so you can easily lose pieces. So you do have to be mindful of them. The reason why I like these is because you can use this for either looking at the question and finding the answer, or looking at the answer and finding the question. And so we intend to use these in our math main lesson block by removing them, kind of shaking them up, and then pulling them out, and then trying to solve the answer. And then in some cases, like suppose the answer is 20, there are other combinations that can make 20, not just 4 times 5. And so that kind of adds to the skill of, or really just to the experience of doing your math. So it's not just the same way all the time. It's not just always saying 8 times 9. Sometimes you're looking at 72 and realizing there are actually a couple different ways to make 72. And so I like kind of shaking it up that way and looking at it from a different perspective. So the other one, when I went on to Amazon to get the 12 times table, they had some other material that I was interested in. We haven't done a lot of manipulatives for fractions. I think because primarily I find these visuals a little bit confusing for me, even though I have a really good grasp on fractions, in my opinion. But I find these visuals to be really confusing, and I prefer to do a lot more living math in order to understand fractions and decimals and percents. However, I did decide to try this one out. This does have the decimals, and I wonder if the fractions are on the other side. Yeah, and the fractions are on the other side. So that way you get your fractions and your decimals. So we're going to try this out. I have been homeschooling for many years, and 3 out of 4 of my children are done learning about fractions and decimals. So I just have the one left, and we'll try this out and see if this helps her at all to grasp these concepts in a way that was different than my older children. And also with these concepts, I feel like you can learn them and you can even master them on paper, but a deep understanding of them in real life, I feel takes many years before you truly understand them. And I think a lot of living math can really help with that. So these are 2 things that are for our math main lesson block. And next I want to show you a whole series of books that we got recently. So there are these 2 Ultimate Editions are similar, but they're, I think, a newer version of the field guide books. Now, these ones are a little bit hard to come by. These ones, actually, I bought 2 in, I think, 2012, and I got them at the Scholastic Warehouse sale. And they were a really good deal. And when I go to a sale like that, I'm going to buy things that I either am not going to expect to find in my library, or something that I think the kids are going to value and want to play with and use over time. And so I didn't expect that our local library would carry these kinds of books, because every couple of pages you get this little pocket here that comes with the materials in order to assemble whatever animal is being talked about on those pages. So I thought for sure my local library isn't going to have this, because, you know, the pieces are going to get lost and whatnot. So I went ahead and I bought those books. They never got used in my homeschool library. They sat around on the shelf for 7 years, and my kids just were not interested in them at all. So we went through, my oldest had already was done homeschooling at the time. So then we went through my second child, didn't care for them. My third child, didn't care for them. My fourth child, didn't really care for them, until one day I pulled them out for our Golden Age of Africa main lesson block. And we had one on safari animals, and I pulled it out and we started assembling the animals, and she just loved it. The pretend play just exploded after that. And we had one on rainforest animals. And so after that, she asked if there were any more, because she was enjoying them so much. So I kind of went online and started hunting down other ones, and some of them were fairly priced, less than what you would buy them at full when they first were released, so maybe between $5 and $10. Then they were upwards all the way to about $20, and I think when these ones were first released, they were about $16. And then there were some that were really extraordinarily overpriced. So you do have to look around for them. Now, we've really loved them for two reasons. One, because you get the little animals that you can assemble. But the other thing is that if you ever wanted to know what a living book felt like, this is definitely a living book in my opinion. So living books are this concept in Charlotte Mason, in the Charlotte Mason educational philosophy that talks about books that you can just super connect with, that they just bring the information alive, that they're written from a passionate author who is a single author, not a bunch of authors that would write a textbook. This is definitely what I would use as an example of a living book. It's written from this fictitious naturalist, maybe a paleontologist, maybe an archaeologist, or other scientists, and it's written from the perspective of like they're in the past, so about 100-ish years ago, and so you're already kind of whisked off into this adventure like 100 years ago, and they have to sail on a boat to wherever they're going, and it talks about their whole adventure of discovering these animals, and maybe they got hurt in the field and they were injured and they had to, be careful and all this stuff. And it really feels like you're reading someone's personal journal of their adventures. So I absolutely love them. I'll just quickly show you that we have polar animals, ocean animals, desert animals, the field guide to insects. And then we also have the safari animals and the rainforest animals. So those are the main ones. But then there are also these two that I found that do not have the same feel at all. My kids, or my daughter in particular, doesn't really care for them. They're both fictitious, mythological. Well, actually, no, I take it back. Dinosaurs. But the mythological beings one she did not care for. And the dinosaur one, she just didn't care for it that much either. I think there just wasn't that same connection. So I did want to show you these two, but I also want to share with you that they didn't resonate with my daughter quite the same way. Okay, I've got more stuff to share with you. Before I share with you these kits, let me show you these two kits that I have here. These are die kits that I got from A Child's Dream. And I forgot to mention that all of the books so far, all of the things that you saw, were either from Amazon or that one retailer called Lino Natura. These are from A Child's Dream, and these are this is a botanical die kit, and this is an indigo die kit. And so it comes with almost everything you need in order to do your, to mix your dye batch so that you can dye fabrics. So I've done indigo dye before. We've done shibori in the past at a Waldorf conference, and we loved it so much. And so I have this now. The only thing is that if you don't mind your batch, it will go bad. So I don't know, this will be my first time making it on my own, so I don't know all of the ways that you can actually keep your batch going, but I know that once you prepare it, you don't have that much time to use it before it can oxidize, and then it doesn't work so well. So I apologize if I'm saying things that are totally erroneous when it comes to indigo dye, but I'm super excited to try it out. Now, there is either in the indigo dye kit or in the botanical dye kit, you do need an additional material or chemical. I think you need lye, but I actually can't remember right now. So this is a botanical die kit. I'm super excited to use this one because it is all natural and it has all these different natural extracts from botanics that you can then you can make pretty much the whole entire rainbow of color. So I'm really excited to try these out. I have to admit that I'm also a little bit nervous because you do need some other materials, and I've been putting it off. So I want to do this. It keeps circulating through all of my main lesson blocks, and so I'm kind of feeling the pressure to just do it. Okay, so I want to share with you this. It's a brand new product for me. It's called Excavating Adventures. So the company did contact me and asked me if I wanted to try them out. And this is, again, something that I would totally buy on my own, but we had run out of educational funding, so I totally took them up on the offer. So we've done excavation kits in the past. We love them. We've included them in as many main lesson blocks and unit studies as we can. I am having a harder time finding them because I don't know if it was just the company that produced like a bunch of them for all different kinds of subject areas just doesn't make them anymore, or they're just not a thing anymore. But I did have a hard time finding them to the point where I started making my own. So I'm super excited to share with you Excavating Adventures, and look how gorgeously it's packaged. Like, something like this makes you just feel like, oh, you're in for an adventure. And so I'm gonna very gently open this up because I do want my kids to do this, but I also want to share with you how it's packaged and what comes in these kits. Okay, okay, I also want to share with you that I have 4 different kits. I think there are 4 different kinds of materials, or I have got 4 kits, but 2 different kinds of materials so that I have one for each of my children. So this is the Geology Quest. You're going to be looking for these different rocks and gems. It comes with a container to store your treasures. It comes with, I can't open this. Hang on. Oh, there we go. That's so beautiful. It comes with powder. Ooh, I don't know. I haven't done this before. It comes with a squiggly hand. It comes with a pipette. It comes with something else. It comes with, ooh, you get to collect cards on these different rocks and gems. That's really cool. And it comes with probably instructions. No, something to put your cards in. That's so cool. Okay, so hold on. Let me figure out how you do this so that I can share with you. Here we go. So you're going to be digging through the dirt and identifying these different rocks. So I'm going to tell you what. I am super excited to figure out how we're going to do this. I bet you there's a way to do this so that you're not just going through the powder. You probably add water to it, is what I'm guessing is why you've got the pipette. I'm going to be doing this with my kids and sharing with you tutorials on this in the future. So look out for that. That way you can see how we go about doing our excavations and what we find. But let me share with you the other ones that they've got because, let's see if I can just open this up carefully and grab the card for you so that you can see the other ones that they have. Here we go. Okay, so then this is another gemstone one. So I did tell them that I have 2 kids and it would be nice if they each had an opportunity to do their own excavations. And so let me share with you the last one. I think this one is on shells and it has an ocean theme. And oh no, this one is dinosaurs. Hold on. Wow, dinosaur fossils. Ooh, I'm so excited. Ooh, this is gonna be so much fun. And then let me just check the last one. It's probably the same, but I think they also had ones on oceanography. Oh yeah, this one is on shells. Seashell search. Oh, that's gonna be so much fun and work so well with our main lesson block on oceanography. Okay, I just have 2 more things to share with you, and it is also for our ocean main lesson block. This one is called Ocean Bingo, and it is so beautiful, so beautiful. So it comes with these really gorgeous, very nice, although a little bit on the thinner side, compared to some of the other bingo games that I've gotten, I've been really spoiled with the eBoo products because they are so durable. So this, just be mindful if you've got really young children. But these illustrations are so gorgeous. But it also comes with a huge board. And this one is super durable. So this is like a game board and it's really large. And this one is going to have all of the animals. So as you pull your card, you can then match it up to the card up here. And then on your game piece, then you'll use the tiles. This is our own bag. And then you'll use the tiles to mark on your own personal game pieces. So we got this for our ocean main lesson block. We were using just basically 1 or 2 games for our ocean main lesson block. We were using the Professor Noggins games. And a friend of mine said, you know, there's a lot of other games out there. Maybe you can include some other games. And then she suggested a few of them, and I'm so glad that she did because they're super beautiful and it's a nice change from using the same games that we have for our opening activities. I saw first Ocean. I've never played these games before, but my kids are so good at them and they really like them. So this one comes with some really durable game pieces that I have a surprise to show you because I didn't actually know this. So they assemble like this all around together, and then you have all of the game pieces, and then you also have some extra ones in case you lose one, and then you have this cute little container here that you put all the game pieces in, and then you pull them out and then you try to look for them. So you try to match up the game piece to the board. And so you think, well, you know, over time you're just going to know where everything is. But they're reversible. I didn't know that. So you can just play one side and then in the future you can flip it over and play the other side. And that way you just get more playtime out of it. You're not going to, well, I mean, if you memorize where they are, that's fine. But if you don't, then at least or if you do, then at least you have another side to play with. So this is a game that we've enjoyed, and it's not super educational, really, unless you've already learned about some of these animals and you can like, oh, there's a blue whale or there's a clownfish, and then you're kind of excited that you can spot them. Otherwise, it's just a lot of fun, and it's a great way just to bring your students together for their opening activities before you start your main lessons, and it kind of brings some relevance to what you're studying. It kind of coordinates. If you're doing a main lesson block on the oceans, then you've got a game that goes along with it. But we like to play our games all throughout our year, you know, with other main lesson blocks, and that way it keeps the information that we've learned in previous main lesson blocks alive. So we like to do that too. So don't forget to check out the blog post that accompanies this video. That link is down in the description box below. And if you want to see some of the main lesson blocks that we are using these materials for, you can tap on the screen. That link is also down in the description box below. And if you want to see how our homeschool is progressing on a daily basis, you can find me on Instagram at Pepper and Pine.